What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Isaac, aka The Baddest. Wait, no, this isn't The Baddest. This is the second channel. I'm an idiot. Welcome to the second channel, not The Baddest. The Baddest is my main channel, which you should subscribe to. First link in the description. But back to what the point of this video actually was. Yeah. So, as most of you probably know, because it's very obvious to the few people that know me, I am a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. I've enjoyed the game since 2014, and I've played the games over and over again many times. But eventually, that gets boring. That gets boring to do over and over again. So I started playing the fan games a while ago. There's a lot of fan games. There's a lot, and there's so many. And yeah, I've just been playing through a fuck ton of them. So today, I'm going to be ranking every single one that I've played on a tier list. So keep in mind, there are some games that I simply was not able to play. So a lot of your favorites probably are not on this. Those being the Joy of Creation, the Joy of Creation games, and the Final Nights games. I have not been able to play those because they are simply way too intense to run. That is the only reason. So those games, I'm sure they would all be S tier. I'm sure they're phenomenal, but I can't play them. And I'm only including games that I've played because that's really the only fair way to do a tier list video. So let's jump into this because this video is going to be very long. Bonnie Simulator is one of the first Five Nights fan games that I distinctly remember playing. And I remember it being pretty cool. It was a really interesting idea to sort of flip the gameplay completely on its head by making you control where the animatronic goes through pretty much the same way you would play the game anyway. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting idea. Gameplay-wise, I can't say it's all that exciting. It's pretty repetitive, but there are things that you can unlock that makes it more exciting. But for the concept itself, it's really, really cool. Gameplay-wise, again, it's lacking. I'm going to put it in C tier. And just to explain the way this tier list is going to work, because truth be told, the Five Nights community is so dedicated that most of these games are really good. Let's just break down what each tier may. S is absolutely phenomenal. A is amazing. B is really good. C is pretty good. D is meh. E is bad. F is god-awful. So C is pretty good still. Normally it would just mean straight average, but there's just that many good games on this list, truth be told. Next up is The Special Birthday, which is an RPG Five Nights game, and it is weirdly good. It's a lot like another game that we're going to be talking about, except I'd say it's better. I really enjoyed playing through this game. You play as the purple guy, or William Afton, before the death of the children, the first death of the children in the Five Nights series, and it's really interesting to see what they do differently, making the four main Five Nights characters being the bosses. It's actually a really interestingly made game, and the mechanics of the actual RPG concept are really good, really fun. I really like this game. It's very charming. I think it's a big fat A tier. And the next one is the one that is very similar to this game, which is Pop Goes Arcade. I respect this game a lot because it has original characters, and it is a very unique concept, much like The Special Birthday is. They're very similar. But for me, the game itself just isn't as fun. I think it still has a very charming art style, and I, again, really respect the idea of original characters, which would later feature in Pop Go's games later on. But, I don't know, the gameplay just wasn't as fun for me. It was still very fun, but the actual RPG mechanics didn't interest me as much throughout the whole playing of the game. With that being said, though, it was still fun. It was still very interesting. I still like the art style. I still like the concepts. So I'm going to put it in B tier right below The Special Birthday, but it's still a really good game. Next up is Five Nights at Wario's, which is the most confusing thing ever to me. This game blew up in early 2015. Like, this game was massive following the release of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. I don't know why, because this game's not good. The models are terrible. The jump scares are terrible. The mechanics are the same as the first Five Nights at Freddy's, except it's weirdly broken. Sometimes one of the characters will be at your door, you know, like how they do, except you won't actually have to close the door on them. You literally just hold the light on, they're there, and then they just go away. What's the challenge there? This game is so not good. It's really just, it's a Five Nights clone with way worse models, unbelievably bad models, no scares to be had, and the mechanics are the same, but very broken. It's a big fat F tier. I don't know why this game blew up. Next is One Night at Flumpty's, which is pretty much what Five Nights at Wario's could have been, but it's actually good. Has fully original characters, which are really cool. The art style is very, very charming. The mechanics are pretty much a straight ripoff of the first Five Nights at Freddy's, but they work very well. It's very challenging, being that it's only one night, so it's a very difficult one night. And yeah, I really like the art style. It's very charming. This is a straight clone. It is just a clone. But the art style overall is what makes it so good, how everything is original, absolutely everything, and that's just really cool to see. And obviously this game has become very iconic, as it's very well known in the Five Nights community, and that's, again, mainly because it takes something that is a complete rip-off of something, but it made it its own thing in a lot of ways. So it's actually really cool. I think One Night at Flumpty's is an A tier. I don't think it's perfect, because it is a straight rip-off. It is just a direct rip-off. But the art style is so charming, man. What can I say? It's so genuinely good as its own game. The mechanics are the same. Now I'm going to be talking about two games at once. I'm illiterate. We're going to be talking about two games at once. Five Nights at Mario's. There is a Five Nights at Mario's that is not good at all. It is just Five Nights at Freddy's, but with a not very good art style. It's not charming in the slightest. But then the same developer remade the same game with 3D models, and holy hell, this game looks good. It is a complete ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's, and it doesn't have the same charm as One Night at Flumpty's because it's not original characters and it's not a very charming art style. But these 3D models of animatronic Mario characters are unbelievably good. They are very impressive, and the overall atmosphere of the game is shockingly good. It is very, very weird how good this game actually was. But I can't give it all that much credit, of course, because, again, it is a complete and utter ripoff of the first Five Nights at Freddy's, and it doesn't have the charm that One Night at Flumpty's has, that being original characters and a completely different art style. But still, I gotta give it, I'm gonna give the first Super Mario, Five Nights at Super Mario, fucking A. The first Five Nights at Mario's is gonna be E tier, because there's absolutely nothing good about it, but it's not completely broken. And the remake is gonna go to C tier, because it is shockingly good. It is shockingly good, but, not very charming like One Night at Flumpty's, so. Next, we got the original Five Nights at Candy's, absolutely an icon. It's really good. That's all there really is to say. There's original characters, which are really good. There's the original models, of course, and they're actually very well made. There's a few different mechanics that separate it from the original, that being the lack of lights, the opening in front of you. I also do like the way the story connects itself to Five Nights at Freddy's, but still makes it its own thing. I think that's a pretty cool thing. But at the same time, it is still not all that different from the original Five Nights games. It looks different, but it actually isn't really. Like, there is an opening in front of you, and that affects one singular character. There is a night mode on the cameras, but why is there that? Why? I will never understand why that's a thing, because it's not exactly a challenge. It never really affects anything. It's very easy to avoid the consequences of having the lights on for too long. But there are more characters in the original Five Nights game, so that does make it more challenging. I think it's an A tier, because I think a lot of the gameplay mechanics that it has just simply are not interesting. They seem interesting on paper, but then when you actually play it, it's not. But it's still a fun to play game, absolutely, and has a lot of originality to it. Just doesn't reach that point of absolutely perfect, but a really good fan game nonetheless. And then we got Five Nights at Candy's 2, which is, I believe, a step up from the original, because the mechanics are really interesting. The use of the telephones and the use of the flashlights, and just all the characters having their own different things. I really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed this game more than the original. I think it is really, really well put together. Although it isn't the absolute best we're going to be talking about today, it is still an S tier, as it is very different from the other Five Nights games. It has all the original characters, and it builds up on the story. It's a lot like the first, but it's just infinitely more interesting. So yeah, S tier for Five Nights at Candy's 2. We're just going to talk about both these at the same time, and I can't believe I haven't played these. Five Nights in Anime 1 and 2. So they're just the original Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, but they look like this now, and when they jump scare you with something different than their face. I'll give you a hint. It's a little bit below the face. It is not bad. It's a little odd. It's not bad. I think this is just the definition of D tier. As I said, D is just meh. It's not very good. But it's kind of just normal. It is basically just a redrawn Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. But, I mean, what can I say? The art is actually very good. It's very well done. So, 2 going in D, which is perfect, because double D, good joke me. Next is this game called Restless at Freddy's. And this game had so much potential, but it's really bad. The mechanics are garbage, and it's insanely easy. To beat nights 1 to 5, you just have to do nothing. This game gives you a power percentage of 200 as opposed to the typical 100, which makes it just about impossible to run out of power. It's just very easy to avoid everything, and you primarily have to look at the cameras, but that's not a challenge when you have infinite power, pretty much. It's very hard to run out of power. It is very hard to run out of power. This game is just so easy and not scary at all. And sometimes the mechanics just straight up don't work. Basically, Freddy's mechanic is he comes into your room, and when he does, you have to shine your flashlight on him. But sometimes he stands in your room and doesn't attack you, and then eventually he'll start wanting to attack you, and then you have to shine your flashlight. Kind of like in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, when you put your camera down and the old animatronics come into your room, and like you hear a sound that lets you know that they're there. There's a little bit of shakiness, a little bit of darkening. That's probably a word, I don't know. And yeah, that's what happens when Freddy comes in the room in this game, but sometimes it doesn't always happen. And when it doesn't happen, it's not like a glitch where he starts attacking you. No, he's just standing there, doing nothing. Foxy does nothing, Bonnie does nothing, Chica does nothing. Like, they do things, but they are just so nothing that we don't need to talk about them. I'm gonna have to put this in F tier. Maybe it's a bit better than Five Nights at Wario's. That's not saying a whole lot, though. It is just so nothing. It is a whole big chunk of nothing, and I don't like it. Next, we got pretty much the same thing as Five Nights at Mario's. It's Five Nights at Kirby's. And yeah, it's just a poorly drawn version of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It is the exact same game. So it's E. Day Shift at Freddy's, a game that shouldn't be allowed to be as funny as it is. You've probably seen this game before. It's basically a visual novel that's like satire, or like parodying Five Nights at Freddy's. And man, it's so funny. It is so genuinely funny. And it's really weird, sure, but it's actually fun. Like, it's really funny and enjoyable to go along and like see the different things that you can do when you like pick different options of what to do. It's really funny. It's a really funny game. I enjoyed this experience a lot, and I'm not proud to admit that, but I really like this game. It is genuinely funny, and I loved going through the game. I have to say C tier. It is pretty good. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing phenomenal, but man, it is funny. Then we get basically the same as Five Nights in Anime. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's Girls, and it's Five Nights at Freddy's, but when they jump scare you, they don't do it with their face. But the difference here is it's not just drawn. There's like full 3D models, and it is shockingly good. It's a pretty good game. I don't know why it's this good. It's kind of like Five Nights at Mario, the Five Nights at Mario's remake, in the sense that like it's just really good, but it shouldn't be. So it's also C tier, I think. It's nothing amazing because it's not like original characters or original mechanics, but the atmosphere and overall presence is there, so it's like not bad to play through at all. And we got Five Nights with 39, a game you guys have definitely heard about. It is also a hilarious Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. Basically, you're with 39 the bunny, and you just have to bonk on his nose when he goes in your room to get away. But what makes it great is he talks throughout the entire game, and it is hilarious. It is so funny. I got really nothing to say. Maybe it's not all that fun to play, and there's not much replayability, but it's hilarious, so it's fun to play through. So it's a C tier. And then the sequel to Five Nights with 39 is Five Ventures with 39. It's basically this developer's version of Five Nights at Freddy's World. It's an RPG game with 39 and his crew, and you just play through the game, and there's a bunch of commentary once again. It's really funny. Well, it may not be the best RPG fan game. It's really good. It's really fun. I really enjoy RPGs, and the fact that all of these are so funny makes it better. It's funny. It's fun. C tier. Now we got Five Nights at Candy's 3. Wow, what a game. This game is unbelievably good. I was so fucking surprised from the jump of Five Nights at Candy's 2 to 3. I love this game. I love it a lot. I love the story. It's so cool. I love the pixel art, the mini games. It's just so charming. I love the models of everything. It's just so cool, and I love like the rat and the cat. They both look great, but the puppet looks shockingly good. I love the way the puppet looks. It looks genuinely frightening. The story is really good, man. I just really love this developer's way of taking Five Nights at Freddy's and changing it. They've done so amazing up to this point. And the mechanics don't really feel like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, you can definitely tell that it's a fan game, but it's nothing that's like a direct ripoff. You have to like shine your light towards their face, and like they'll go under the bed, and you have to face the opposite way until you hear a creak sound and then turn the other way. It's very hard to explain, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen the game or played the game. It's really good. It is very, very charming. This is probably the best Five Nights at Freddy's fan game to date. It is amazing. I love it. I think it is a big, big S tier. Absolutely amazing game. I'm going to just talk about these two at the same time, because they're very weird to me. Jolly 1 and 2. A very respected name in the Five Nights community. But they're so confusing. I mean this with absolutely no joke. I beat nights 1 to 6 of both games, and I have no idea how. I didn't understand the mechanics for 1 second. I did not understand how I was playing for a single second of this game, of both games, and I beat nights 1 to 6 of both of them without that much difficulty. How does that happen? That shouldn't be allowed to happen. But with that being said, the game looks absolutely amazing. It has all original characters, and all their models are amazing. The atmosphere and just the location that you're in and everything on the cameras looks great. Looks like a fully fledged out game. And then the mini games are also pretty okay. I don't love them or anything. They're not as charming as like the Five Nights at Candy's ones, but they're pretty good. They add to the game for sure. I just genuinely don't understand the gameplay. I don't understand it, and yet I beat both games. 20 mode is a different story. I don't play 20 modes for fan games, because why would I dedicate the time to that, okay? But yeah, I didn't understand. I didn't understand it all. But with that being said, it is a very charming game, and it's a very cool game. So I'm going to put it in B tier. Both games in B tier, but I don't know how to play them. But I beat them. I don't get it. The Freddy Files is a game that I didn't expect much from when I first downloaded it and started playing it, but my god, what a phenomenal fan game. Every single night of this game is entirely different. It doesn't go by nights, it goes by half hours. It goes by every 30 minutes is a different part of the game. And there are parts that take place in the office where it's like a traditional FNAF formula, but it's very original actually, and it's very fun. Like, it's just really fun to play through. And every single level, every single part of the game is different. Different mechanics, different concepts, different settings, and the art style is amazing. I love classic games. I love the old art style, and the fact that it looks like an SNES game is so cool. I love this. Just the way they were able to portray the Freddy Files story by putting it into a game and make every part of the game feel different is really cool. It is so, so cool. I really enjoyed playing this game. With that being said, I don't think a game can truly be S tier unless it has originality to it. With that being said, this game is very original, but I feel like it gets held back from being S tier because a lot of what makes it really good, you can't credit them fully for. Now that's not to be offensive towards the creators of this game, but you know, the story itself, you can't necessarily credit to them. The characters, you can't necessarily credit to them. So a lot of that does definitely get taken away. But with that being said, the art style is really good, and their portrayal of the story is really good, and the gameplay is really, really good. So it's a really high A tier. I can't put it at S tier personally, but it is a very high A tier. Next is a game that I didn't even think was going to be an actual game, but I played it, and it's not bad. Five Nights with Mr. Hugs and Friends. It's like a joke based off of Ultimate Custom Night. Basically, you play as Toy Freddy, and you need to defend yourself from Mr. Hugs and Friends. Basically, you need to, just like an Ultimate Custom Night, look through the few cameras and stop Mr. Hugs from coming. But whenever you are not checking the cameras, you are meant to vacuum the place. And if the place isn't at a certain level of cleanness by the end of the night, you don't win it. So you have to actually vacuum when you're doing nothing else. This game is weird, but it's legitimately fun. It's a game based on the traditional FNAF formula, but it has some spins on it. It has some interesting parts to it, and it's funny in its own way. So yeah, I gotta give it a C tier, because it's actually fairly original, pretty funny, and not a bad game. Which is weird to say about Five Nights with Mr. Hugs and Friends. Next we got Five Nights at Wario's 2. Big surprise, it's not good. I don't know, man. Just looks terrible, plays terrible. It's not good. It's just not good. It's really not good. F tier, moving on. Now we got Five Nights Before Freddy's, made by the same people as Five Nights with 39. And it actually came before that. Little did I know, the story is all joined together. And holy hell, what a good Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. The mechanics are insanely good, and it runs so well. The gameplay is my favorite part of this game by far. I wish this game was made with original characters and gave it like some more story to it. Because my god, what a phenomenal fan game. The mechanics are just really fun and really original, and it runs really well. The jump scares are pretty solid. It's just fun, man. Like, this game really just breaks down to the fact that it is insanely fun. And despite it, just being 7 nights, like every Five Nights at Freddy's game, it has replayability because it's that much fun. This game is so fun. I want you guys to play this one for yourself. It is a big A tier. This game is so fun and so interesting. It's just so well put together. And there's also a sequel to Five Nights Before Freddy's, Five Nights Before Freddy's 2. And I didn't think it could be better, but my god, it is better. It is so fun. It just breaks down the fact that it's so fun. And there is more story to this one. And it's dark. It is dark and really interesting. It's really engaging. And if they don't come out, if this developer doesn't make another game, I will be livid. This game is really fun. It takes place in a cabin as opposed to an actual pizzeria, because the animatronics got dumped into a forest or some shit. It's really actually like frightening. And you feel really tense while playing through it. And it's legitimately challenging. It gets pretty difficult as the mechanics switch up every now and then. This game is just a load of fun. It's like the original, but I'd say it's better because it's even more fun. This game's so fun. Go play it for yourself. It's another A tier, but again, it is a high A tier. This game is so fun. Next, we got a weird one. This is Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Clicker. It's Cookie Clicker, but with Five Nights at Freddy's. But what if I said this game is actually really good? You can unlock so many things in this game that's really weird. There's a lot of mini games that are pretty fun. There is a lot of things to unlock that affect the gameplay, and it actually makes the game more engaging than like Cookie Clicker does, because there's more to do than just click. There's actually like challenges to overcome and things to unlock and different things to do. It's actually it's a game with a lot of substance, which I find really surprising, but I really respect how much time and effort they actually put into this to make it different. So it's actually going to be a C tier because it's actually really good. Maybe it's not as good as most of the ones in C tier, but it's really interesting and it's actually really fun. It's way more engaging than you'd expect. Five Nights at Wario's 3, I don't know why this game exists, but hey, it's the best of the 3 Five Nights at Wario's games that are on this list. In fact, there's more Five Nights at Wario's games. But man, I'm not going to play them for a while. I don't know if I can handle this anymore. This game actually is pretty interesting. There is a lot more mechanics to it, and there's definitely a lot more to do. That doesn't make it good, because there's a lot of things to do that aren't very good. Everything still looks terrible. It looks absolutely awful. And the game still doesn't play very well. But with that being said, it plays better than the original 2, and there is more to it than the original 2. So guess what? It's E tier. Congratulations. Let's move on now. Five Nights in Minecraft. So much like a lot of the other games, it is just a remake of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, actually, not the first one. And yeah, it's just Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which is a really good Five Nights at Freddy's game, if not the best one. And everything looks like Minecraft, which is actually pretty impressive. It looks really good. It looks very high quality. So it's kind of just like Five Nights at Freddy's Girls or Five Nights at Mario's in the sense that it's a remake that looks really good. So it's going to be C tier, because again, it looks really good. You can tell they actually put effort into it. So yeah, it's going to be C tier. This game... Fun times at Homer's. It's Five Nights at Freddy's, but with The Simpsons. And it plays almost as bad as the Five Nights at Wario's games, but not as bad. But it's still very easy, and very easy to manipulate. But with that being said, the art of the Spooky Simpsons animatronics it's decent. It looks better than Five Nights at Wario's, plays better than Five Nights at Wario's. It's a little bit scarier than Five Nights at Wario's, and it's a bit funny at times. That being said, this game is so boring. So boring. So boring and unoriginal, man. Okay, so it's E tier. Alright, we're almost at the end of this. Next one we got is One Night of Flumpty's 2. What a goddamn game, Jesus. I not much was expected after the first One Night of Flumpty's, I'm sure, because One Night of Flumpty's looks great and does run well, but there wasn't a whole lot to it, really. But this game is completely original, with way more art style, with way more original art, way more characters. Well, actually, more just reimagining of characters, but some new characters. And the mechanics are really original and really good. This game is pretty much perfect. It's shockingly good. It's unbelievably good. This is a big S tier. I'd say it's the second best Five Nights fan game to come out. I love it. I love it a lot. It's also very challenging. Unlike the first game, there is a hard mode, and goddamn, it's very hard. Okay, people might get mad at me for this one. I don't know, but Five Nights at Fuckboys. Unbelievably good game. It is such a good game. The actual RPG mechanics are the best of any Five Nights at Freddy's RPG fan game. It is so good and difficult and intense and legitimately complex. It is so fun and it is hilarious. The writing is hilarious, and even the challenges that you have to overcome are legitimately funny, and they always have some sort of weird way of making them interesting. And the game actually looks very good. Like, all the sprites are really good, and all the atmosphere is really good. This game's too good. This game shouldn't be allowed to be this good. This game is S tier, man. It has everything except for original characters. But the game is just so good that it's S tier. And people might not be happy about that because I didn't give that to the Freddy Files or Five Nights Before Freddy's, but like, it is such a good RPG game. It shouldn't be allowed to be this good of an RPG game, but like, the creators of this game clearly understand RPGs, and they clearly put a lot of actual effort into this game. And it's so good. It is a legitimately amazing RPG. Like, even if you did strip away all of the Five Nights at Freddy's, resemblance in it and like the comedic factors of it, you got a really good RPG game then still. Like, it is such a good RPG game. I love it so much. So yeah, it's going to be an S tier for me. I'm not sorry. And the final game we're going to be talking about is the Glitched Attraction. So there's not a whole lot to say about this game because only the demo has come out. But with that being said, the demo is so good and has gotten so much praise that like, I really wanted to talk about it. Because whatever this developer makes is definitely going to be good. Because this demo in itself is so cool and really impressive. Right now, I'm going to put it at B tier, but I have a feeling when it comes out, it is going to be A. But who knows? Maybe it'll be an S. It's possible. Yeah, this game's really fun. It's really interesting. It's really unique, and I enjoy it quite a bit. So this is the Five Nights at Freddy's fan games tier list. There's definitely a lot of very, very well-known ones that are not on this list. If I am able to play them at some point, I will probably do some sort of update, but I cannot promise anything. This is my list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite and least favorite Five Nights fan game is. I really love this community, genuinely. Like, the Five Nights at Freddy's community has a lot of bad parts to it, and that's what gives the whole franchise a lot of hate a lot of the time. But there are so many people that are really dedicated to the series and just legitimately love it for what it is. And that is clear through the fan games. That is more clear through the fan games than anything else. Like, I literally made the definition of the middle still good on this tier list because there's that many games that have this much thought and care into it. And that is insane. And I love it. I love seeing what people do with their own ideas, with their own sense of humor, their own interpretation of things. This game is amazing. Why did I say that? This community is amazing, and you can see that through the games. I love it a lot, and I'm looking forward to more Five Nights at Freddy's fan games that are going to come out at some point. So yeah. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Why am I so stupid? Peace the fuck out.